Anthony Davis picks up right where he left off after a 5-week injury absence. Rams defensive coordinator Raheem Morris gets a second interview to be the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. And where will salary cap woes strike the Chargers first? Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. Always on the road, always thinking about LA sports. Stuck in Columbus, Ohio on January 26, 2023. If you like the content that we put out about LA sports, click the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. I'm stuck in the snow in middle America. Life could be better. Okay? So before we go through the news and notes from around LA, we'll take a quick look at the scoreboard. Last night, over at Crypto.com Arena, Anthony Davis returns and leads the Lakers with 21 points. We're going to talk a little bit more about this in a couple of minutes. Lakers 113, San Antonio 104. Meanwhile, tonight, here's a game I would love to watch. Number 8 UCLA at USC. The game is at 6 o'clock. The Bruins survived USC earlier this year, 60-58. And again, we'll talk more about that game in a moment. Meanwhile, San Antonio stayed in town. They're going to play the Clippers tonight at 7:30 p.m. LA has won 3 consecutive games. Anthony Davis, I can't quit you. You come back after a month away, literally only a couple of minutes on the court, you're grabbing your ankle thinking that you're in pain, and there I am once again on cue, grabbing my pearls looking to squeal. It's going to happen every single game, and I know I'm going to be doing that for every single Lakers game for the rest of your career. I know this. I don't care. I will happily do it. When you produce the way you've been producing, I have to recognize that that's part of the trade, right? Because immediately, Anthony Davis looked like an MVP candidate after 5 weeks away from basketball. Looked like, did you see the game last night? The guy led the team in scoring. LeBron James finally didn't have to be bitter like the whole entire world was on his shoulders. 21 points in just 26 minutes. 12 rebounds, 4 blocks. And if I look back at all the articles and all the social media comments that I see about Anthony Davis, I sometimes think that Laker fans feel like every center should be built like Shaquille O'Neal. Impervious to pain, bulletproof. That's not ever going to be the case with Anthony Davis, and we're simply going to have to accept that because of the elite production that the guy puts out on the court. He's not Shaquille O'Neal when it comes to pain. Hell, he's not even Chris Mim when it comes to pain, you know? But the numbers are just that damn good. And then on top of Anthony Davis coming back, you add Rui Hachimura, who played in his first game after being acquired from Washington a couple of nights ago. Honestly, seemed to fit in pretty good to me. 12 points in 22 minutes. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that the guy is going to put them on a championship level. At the time of the trade, I told you he wasn't going to put them on a championship level. But last year, the Lakers roster was too damn old. When Davis was out, for that massive 5-week stretch, the Lakers were too damn small. Now, they have options. They have more height. They were already feisty. They have a little bit more talent now. They're competitive. They're intriguing to watch. There is a reason to watch Lakers basketball, even though they are not championship level right now. And I haven't even mentioned that LeBron James scored 20 points. He was not the big story. And honestly, I think he already knows that he's a big enough story as it is. He's perfectly willing to cede the spotlight over to AD for more than just a little bit, I might add. Now, I would say despite the Hachimura trade, LA still has needs going into the trade deadline. They still need shooting. They still need defense. They have the fewest three-pointers made in the NBA. But the names that I keep seeing bandied about online just don't work. See, that's the problem that I've been having. I've been repeating it like a broken record for months. All of these proposed trades are complete crap. Buddy Hield. Do the Lakers need to get shorter? Do they need another guard? No, actually, they don't need another guard. They don't. What about Kyle Kuzma? Well, they just made a trade with the Washington Wizards. They didn't go try to get Kyle Kuzma back. And there's a reason for it. Kuzma did not fit in that well with Davis and LeBron when all three of them were in LA back in 2020. GM Rob Pelinka said the Hachimura trade, quote, doesn't mean our work is finished, unquote. But honestly, I look at the people that are out there and for the vast majority of it, I think what Mr. Pelinka said is pretty much just lip service. Speaking of Lakers trades, I hear all the time about how brittle Anthony Davis is. I mentioned that earlier in the tape. I wanted to revisit something. The Lakers' initial trade for Anthony Davis. Who did the Lakers give up for him? Lonzo Ball. Always injured. Always. Did you know that Brandon Ingram actually has missed the last 2 months due to injury? 2. Sure, there's Josh Hart, but he left New Orleans. He's playing for Portland. And the 3 draft picks, yeah, one is DeAndre Hunter, but DeAndre Hunter was traded to Atlanta. So I'm sorry. I realize that some people wish Anthony Davis was as bulletproof as Shaq. He's not. The Lakers won that trade. I know there are Laker haters out there, but sometimes you have to admit, what is the option? Did you really want that team with Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram? Really? Where would they be now? It wouldn't be with a ring, I'll tell you that. Defensive coordinator Raheem Morris of the Rams has made that all-important good first impression with the Colts. Indianapolis asked him to interview again, according to the NFL Network. 4 people have so far been asked back by the Colts, by the way, including interim coach Jeff Saturday, which is very strange because the Colts went 1-7 when he came on as the interim coach last year. For some reason, Jim Irsay, the team owner, likes the guy. So that would be suboptimal, keeping the guy who went 1-7. But regarding Raheem Morris, I mean, I've said it before. I am the furthest thing from a social justice warrior. I do recognize it's been difficult for quality black coaches to get a shot. And Morris, honestly, he's just been terrific with the Rams. And I would even argue he was pretty damn solid as the Falcons interim coach when Dan Quinn got fired. By the way, I bring up Dan Quinn for a reason. Guess who also gets a second interview with the Colts? Dan Quinn. That's going to look a little awkward, the two of them sitting next to each other interviewing for the same gig, wouldn't you say? Gerard Johnson, the Vikings assistant quarterback coach, has interviewed with the Chargers for their offensive coordinator gig on Tuesday. We didn't hear about how it went. I'm assuming because we didn't hear about how it went, we'll just have to go with that. Chargers general manager Tom Telesco claims that he is unperturbed by the Bolts being about $19 million over the salary cap. He said not having as much salary cap space is, quote, fine, unquote. I don't know if he's trying to happy talk this or not. It feels like it because he said he was not all that sure about his ability to actually improve the roster for next year. Would you like to know? I have an idea or two. I know where it's not going to improve the roster. I know where they're going to get hurt. Pass rush. Look, Kyle Van Noy was a damn good soldier for the Bolts. But guess what? He's a free agent now. And if you're $19 million over the cap, do you really think you can keep him, or is he a luxury item? Considering the fact that he did step in for Joey Bosa for 8 or 9 games. You prefer Bosa or Van Noy? We know the answer to that. Then you're looking at linebacker Drew Tranquill. Same. The Chargers would love to have him back. I think they're going to try to find a way to bring that guy back. But again, you could possibly lose as many as 2 people who could help the pass rush. So now you're looking at the two defensive ends who are elite. Absolutely, they're elite talents. Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack. But they're injury prone. So Bosa goes down again. Last year you had Van Noy. This year, who the hell did the Chargers have? It's a question that LA is going to have to answer. Because right now, they're not going to have anybody. It's not like Chris Rumpf set the world on fire either. Mentioned earlier that USC and UCLA are going to be playing tonight. And look, it's clear. UCLA can ball. We got that. For me, though, the interesting question is USC. USC is trying for a third consecutive NCAA tournament bid. That would be only the second time in school history that had happened. And we knew it was going to be a challenge because the Pac-12 isn't as strong as it was last year. So right now, about halfway through the year, maybe a little more than halfway, where are the Trojans? Well, if it matters, CBS creates its own brackets, their own rankings as where teams should be seated. And the Trojans, to CBS Sports, are currently an 11th seed, despite having 6 losses, I might add, and possibly a 7th tonight against the Bruins. By the way, if you are curious, UCLA is currently considered to be a 3rd seed by CBS Sports. For his part, UCLA coach Mick Cronin told the LA Times that USC's team is, quote, a different team now with Vince Iwuchukwu, unquote. And so, yeah, I am looking forward to that. If you are looking forward to something that's not necessarily a key to the game, but something that looks like a lot of fun to watch, I would watch Vince Iwuchukwu versus Adam Bona in the low paint. By the way, speaking of UCLA and injured players coming back, there is a chance Amari Bailey returns tonight, by the way, which, frankly, the Bruins could use to spread out the scoring a little more. We mentioned earlier about the Lakers trade deadline thoughts, what they might need. What about the LA Clippers? We've read rumors all day long, and again, I hate rumors. They never come to pass. So we take a step back, and I'm asking, what do the Clippers actually need? They have all the shooters that they need. There's no doubt, right? But we've mentioned that they too need to kind of vary their roster a little bit. They need a backup center. They need a point guard. Here's something I haven't mentioned that somebody else brought to my attention. What about slashing your way to the rim, right? If you're talking about a bunch of shooters just hanging out at the three-point line, the Clippers probably look like a rec league team out there. The only difference being is that they can actually shoot. So the idea is to create openings for these outside shooters with somebody who could drive the lane or somebody in the low post who could draw the double team, make sure somebody has an open shot at the three-point line. But that leads to the question, which do you prefer, the point guard or the center? You could accomplish it with either way. But you think about how LeBron James took over against the Clippers a couple of days ago. Do they really want the point guard? Can you get both the point guard and the backup center if you're a Clipper fan? I was thinking about that the other night. LeBron James totally took over because there was no interior presence for the Clippers. To me, that kind of puts the weight on backup center as opposed to point guard. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread if you're a Clippers fan. Dodgers pitcher Shelby Miller has told the LA Times pitching coaches are tinkering with his release point so that hitters can't pick up on what he's trying to throw up there. Make him a little harder to hit. Spring training, of course, doesn't officially kick off for a couple of more weeks. But again, let me know what you think in the comments thread. Let me know what you think about Raheem Morris and his chance over in Indianapolis. Let me know what you think about the Lakers with Anthony Davis and Rui Hachimura. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We talk LA sports every morning. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.